tuning in today, and I'm so excited. I have a special guest by the name of George Bryant from CivilizedCavemanCooking.com. George is going to share with you some awesome wisdom he's learned over the years from being a Marine and from creating one of the most popular paleo cooking websites online. So let's take it on over to my interview with George.
I have with me today George Bryant from Civilized Caveman. George, how's it going tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I wanted to kind of get into your background before we go off on anything and kind of tell the people kind of how you started out. And I've seen your before and after pictures and how the stories change over the years. So tell us a little bit about your evolution as to how you got to where you are now.
Sure. I will. I'll keep it to the abridged version so we don't take up the whole podcast recording here. But you know, I was really overweight as a kid. I didn't have a lot of family support growing up, so. You know, like the only sports I got to do were ones that I could pretty much walk myself to and get myself home from. So, introduced to me staying in shape. I wasn't the really popular kid. We moved a lot. So, you know, just the typical excuses of being a kid and not really knowing what to do or how to train for anything in particular. So I got pretty overweight, and I had a rough childhood with my family and some stuff. And then I decided that after social services got involved in my life, with my family and divorce, that I wanted to get the hell out of there. So I found the hardest thing I could find, which was the United States Marine Corps, and I figured out what I had to do to be able to make it in that and get out of there. So I started setting my mind on that when I was about 16, 17. I went and met a recruiter. They told me I couldn't join because I was overweight. So that's when it all kind of started for me, and I started doing the horrible chronic cardio thing, sauna, wrestling routines to try and cut weight because that's what the recruiter told me to do. But I ended up making weight and ended up leaving for the Marine Corps. After boot camp, I graduated soaking wet, maybe 150 pounds or so, and then started my Napoleon complex of the body with roller coaster, from what I like to call it, as you've seen on my before and after.
Sure.
So I started fighting the Napoleon complex, and I deployed in 2004 to Somalia, where I worked tirelessly for 7 or 8 months to put on as much weight as I could, and I got up to about 215 or 220 pounds of muscle, and thought it was like the best in the world. And then I got hurt really bad on my 21st birthday while deployed. I got exercise-induced compartment syndrome, and I almost lost both my legs. So I had 6 surgeries. I spent 12 months in a wheelchair and about 18 months in physical therapy, and I ballooned up to a lovely 257 pounds. That was probably the lowest point in my life. And then I was blessed to have met a physical therapist who was really, really into triathlons, and I lived in Hawaii at the time. And she started my therapy regime on pretty much training to do a sprint triathlon. So I spent all that time in therapy, like 18 months, just working towards that goal. So I was able to get myself down to 185 pounds of grain rotation and carb loading, and compete in my first triathlon and do really well. And I got the triathlon itch, and I stayed in that for about 1.5 years or 2, and my weight never really got any lower. I looked great with a shirt on, and then I took my shirt off, and I was the epitome of skinny fat.
Skinny
probably
fat.
Probably all those nights at Buca de Beppo when I was carb loading, thinking I was doing myself a favor. And then I left Hawaii. I got stationed in Southern California at Camp Pendleton. I was getting ready for a deployment to Afghanistan, and I had one of my Marines introduce me to CrossFit. So I drank that Kool-Aid for a bit of time, and got deployed to Afghanistan, stumbled across Rob Wolf's book. When I was out there, I read it. Said when I get home, I'm going to implement this the best I can. Got home, went 30 days strict paleo, no working out, no nothing. And I dropped down to about 167 pounds, and I just got absolutely shredded. And I was like, all right, I'm in, wholeheartedly, I'm sticking here. And then instead of going back to CrossFit, I found a local kettlebell gym near me where just RKC instructors, and every single thing is done with kettlebell stuff that you can do at home in your garage. That's what I loved about it. It was down and dirty, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, and it was just an ass whooping with kettlebells and burpees every day. So I did that, developed a lot of core strength, and then that kind of led me back into CrossFit where I competed for a while, and I've kind of stayed here since then. I teeter around like 168 to 172 with very little effort, and I absolutely love it because I'm down to training like 2 to 3 days a week, and then I just make sure I do a lot of outside activities now, playing on the slack line in my backyard, going to the trampoline stuff, walking, doing stuff like that just to kind of shift my game up a little bit.
That's awesome. That's quite a crazy story, going from 150 to 230 and then back down. That's quite a huge range.
Yeah, 257 was the highest.
Oh, wow. It's over 100 pounds of range there, huh?
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous to think about it. I still have a few shirts from when I was that big, and it's almost like it's saddening to see, but I can't believe that I ever actually wore those things.
What kettlebell gym did you train at, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, Cutting Edge Kettlebells in Temecula. He's in Murrieta, California. My buddy Louie, he's an RKC, and he's run that kettlebell gym, I think, for like probably 5 years or so now.
Okay,
and,
sure.
Yeah, I stumbled in there on accident. I actually was looking for a CrossFit gym, and I found him, and he just challenged me. He's like, just come in. And I was like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. I'm a big, bad CrossFit athlete. You ain't going to touch me. And I remember the welcome workout like it was yesterday. It was literally a 10-minute AMRAP, as many rounds as possible, of 10 kettlebell swings, and I think he only had me use a 44 to do a proper Russian swing, and then a 10-second strict plank hold, but his style. And I don't remember how many rounds I got, but I do remember for like the next 3 days that I felt like I wanted to induce vomit every time I took a step. And I was like, all right, it worked. I believe him. And then I got stuck. And then I stayed training there for probably like 6 or 7 months. And I didn't leave because of any fault of their own. I got recruited to compete on a team competition for CrossFit, and I kind of was getting the itch again. So now I just for that time I'd left, I'd done CrossFit.
That's wild. Yeah, the RKC style training can be kind of tough, can it?
Oh, it trust me, it is. If you need something to do at home, you just start following like Pavel's website and get a couple kettlebells, and you are all set.
Yeah, 1 or 2 kettlebells and a pull-up bar, you're good to go. Awesome, man. So now you've become known as the civilized caveman. So what prompted you to kind of share your ideas with the world, and how did you start your website?
So, yeah, that was the part of the story I didn't want to delve into with the weight journey, but I had never cooked anything unless it came out of a box. So when I came home and I started this paleo journey, it was a whole new thing to me. I was like, what is this fresh meat, vegetable stuff? Like, what do I do with it? How do I peel it? I don't own any knives besides butter knives. Like, I was so lost. It was like it was the darkest day for me. Like, I could have burnt water boiling it on the stove. Like, it was horrible. So I figured out in that whole paleo journey that I kind of had to teach myself how to cook to be successful with this. And in the process during that 30 days, like, I learned how easy it really was if you were using like quality ingredients and just kind of took a step back and kept things simple. And so I got really excited about it, and I would make all these treats and I would make all these foods and bring them into the gym and share with people. And they always wanted recipes. So I got really annoyed emailing recipes to like 5 or 10 people at a time. And I was like, this sucks. I'm just going to make a Facebook page, and then you can all go read them. Then I don't have to email all of you. And I thought of the catchy name, and I literally on the fly came up with Civilized Caveman Cooking Creations and started posting it. And then, I remember when I got like my 25th fan and my 50th fan, and then all of a sudden one night I had like 500 fans in like 3 or 4 days because it had paleo in the tagline and people were searching it. And I was like, oh, crap. And then they're like, we can't read these notes. These are stupid. And I was like, well, it's time to start a website. So I started my website April of last year, and it's pretty much for the people that have been around the whole time. It's been quite a journey through my life. They've learned how to cook with me. They've learned how to take food photos with me. They've learned how to fail in the kitchen with me. They've learned so much stuff. They've learned that I wear footed pajamas out to the coffee store. They learned pretty much things about me that they don't ever want to know. But it's my way of showing people that, as an active duty Marine, I work a lot. For example, this morning I left my house at 4:45 a.m. and I just got home to call you at 6:15 p.m. and I still have to eat dinner, make dinner, photograph dinner, type a blog post, type a recipe, respond to the 150 emails I have, all the comments and stuff. So one of the biggest things for my website was to show people how simple you could do this, even if it is a hectic lifestyle that you live. There's always ways to plan accordingly and be successful at it. And that's what I try and accomplish with pretty much all my recipes. There's no big fancy names. There's no intimidating stuff. It's throw all this delicious crap in a crock pot and hit go, and then enjoy it when you get home.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what does a civilized caveman eat?